Hello everyone, so welcome to today's video. We are talking about one of the biggest, most anticipated launches for the holiday season. I missed out on mine last year. When I thought about getting it and got online, it was sold out. So this time, when it came time to place the order, first access, I snagged mine. And I'm talking about the newest palettes from Hourglass, the ambient lighting palettes. These are very popular in the beauty community, and I'm pretty sure by the time this video goes up, it has already sold out once, and it probably will continue to sell out as we get closer to the holiday months and the gift giving season, which is right around the corner. And this is a time of the year that those of us who like Hourglass are anticipating and waiting for, because we already know this is going to come out, right? So I missed out last year. I was not able to get the palette. I had my eye on the butterfly palette and the elephant. I thought those were so pretty, and I just didn't jump on it fast enough. So this time, I signed up for early access because I was not going to sleep on it because I had to have this palette. And when I saw the owl packaging, I just knew that that was going to be my choice for exterior packaging. So we're going to get into the thoughts because I have a lot to say about this, and it might be unexpected to you what my thoughts are on this. I am no stranger to Hourglass formula. I have a couple other palettes. So we're going to kind of get into the details, the colors, and I'm wearing the majority of these colors today. I did a separate video, a full face of new products, and I added this into that video as well. So you may have already seen that. If not, that will be the next video that gets posted. But we're still going to chat because I've used this a few times. So I have kind of formulated my opinions on this packaging and the formulas. So with the launch was 3 color palettes. So the color palettes would be the 6 pans on the inside, and they have different tones. And some of them are going to be repeats, and I was able to sort of look at the photos and see the shades, and I felt like some of them were honestly repeats to my collection, what I have now, and I don't have a big collection. So if you have a lot of these palettes and you are collecting them, you most likely have a lot of them. I will say the snake color story, which is number 3, has the most new, where I think it's 5 new shades, and I almost ordered that one, but I didn't because I felt like the tones were going to be a little too deep for my fair skin. So I didn't order it. I didn't want to waste money and product that I'm not going to use. Someone else that has darker skin tone that would enjoy it and love it and actually use it could have purchased that. So I didn't. I chose the color story number 1, which is more geared toward the light and fair skin tones. This one had the most sort of new shades to me. Palette number 2, I believe I had 2 or 3 of those. This one I only have 1, which is the diffused light finishing powder. And I'm okay with having a duplicate, but everything else is new to me. So I felt like 5 new shades was definitely worth the investment and worth the $90 price point, which, let's talk about price point. These are $90, so it's $5 more this year than last year, but the packaging is different. So you have different options. That's the cool thing about the Hourglass ambient lighting palettes for the holiday. You can change the outside. So this inside that you see here is the color story palette number 1, which on the website is going to show you the jellyfish packaging, which is the blue. Absolutely beautiful. That was going to be my choice to pair with color palette number 3 if I would have bought both of them. But I saw the owl, and the owl is the 4th option that does not have a color story assigned to it. So it's one that you can choose, if you like it, to customize your packaging. So it's more of a personalized sort of thing that you could do, which again, I can understand why they would charge more because you get to change the outside of it. Some people really care about the outside, some people don't, and it doesn't really matter to them what it looks like. And then those of us who really like packaging, I do feel like packaging does play a role in what I purchase sometimes, and I do like to have really nice packaging. I'm not gonna lie, especially for $90, I do want to feel like I'm getting $90 worth from A to Z. So packaging, formula, longevity, the formula, how they apply, how they blend, how they perform with other things, A to Z, it needs to be right up there, right? So I chose the owl because I felt like that was the prettiest one that I really wanted to get my hands on. But they have the owl, they have a jellyfish, a leopard, and a snake. So you get to choose out of those 4 which one you want, or you can just order as they are designed and curated specifically by Hourglass. So if you don't want to change it, you don't have to. So inside of this palette, you get 6 shades. So on the outside, besides the beautiful owl, let's just take a moment. It's a piece of art, yes. It has that substantial metal feel to it. But here's what I'm gonna say. $90 is a lot of money. And I just feel like for $90, I expect, like I said before, A to Z to be covered. I don't want to feel like I'm losing out on something or something is just not right there for that amount of money. That's a lot of money. Whoever buys this palette should feel, I think, that the packaging is sort of right up there. And yes, it's metal, so it's great. I'm not knocking that. But I feel like it's somewhat flimsy because when I open mine, like this whole mirror, it's so loose, the hinges, and it just sort of, you know, it just kind of flops over. It's a good size mirror and it's a great quality mirror. So I'm not knocking the packaging and that mirror that's provided for you. It's a good mirror size so you can see your whole face. If you hold it at arm's length, you can see everything, get it up close and really see detail. It's a good mirror. It's not one of those cheapy plastic clown looking mirrors, but I just don't like the whole, I don't know, it just sort of cheapens it a little bit for me. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but I'm just being completely honest with you. I paid for this myself and I paid full price for it. I didn't use a code. I didn't get any discounts on it. I paid the full $90. And I just feel like I wanted the mirror to just open up and just sit upright and just nice. It just feels like the hinges are very loose. Like if maybe I dropped it, is it gonna fall out? I don't know. So when I took this out, I was super excited to get this in the mail. And once I opened it, I just felt a little disappointed in that aspect. And also this little metal tray where the 6 pans, I had to push mine in to sort of go in all the way. And you can kind of hear a little bit when I'm pushing it in. And of course, I'm just nitpicking because I know that that part is the part that snaps in and out when they're customizing the palettes based off of the order. So it has to have that sort of snap aspect of it because that's how you are able to customize and allow the customer to pick their outside packaging. So I get it, but mine just wasn't in all the way. Again, I'm nitpicking on that, but it's something to know for $90. I don't want to sit here and have to like finagle this. I don't want to have to push it in. I don't want to have to glue it in. It should already be intact, right? For, again, a $90 price point. Beyond the packaging, I will say that the formula is pretty much what I come to expect from Hourglass. It's a great formula. They have a very beautiful formulation for their bronzers, their blushes, their finishing powders. So I'm not going to knock what is provided and the formulas because I think that the formula is great. If you are new to Hourglass, I will say that something like this, like these ambient lighting palettes, are a great place to start. Yes, they're more expensive, but you're getting 6 different pans. And if you're new to Hourglass, you don't have any repeats. So again, that's also another bonus if you don't have repeats. I only have one in this palette, which is a finishing powder, and that's okay. So I didn't want to feel like I was getting re-promoted pans of product that was left over from a previous launch last year or the year before that they just decided to reuse and sell again. I wanted to feel like I was getting a lot of variety that I didn't already own. That's why I didn't purchase Color Story number 2 because I had several of those options already and I just felt like it wasn't worth the investment. So if you do have Hourglass palettes and you want to purchase one that is more new where you don't have a lot of duplicates from the previous season or the seasons before, definitely take a look at your palettes first and sort of cross-reference what you already own to the website and then kind of see. For me, I feel like $90, I would want to buy something that I don't have already a lot of. Like if I had 2, 3, or even 4 of those colors, I wouldn't spend the money. So I wouldn't even recommend it if you already have some of these shades. Just pass because you're really not missing out on anything. The first time I used this palette, I did apply too much of this highlighter. This is a metallic strobe powder, which I do feel like is pretty intense. I am wearing it today very lightly, and I took my sponge and I dabbed over it to kind of tone it down because it is very reflective, which honestly is kind of a shock because when it comes to Hourglass, everything is very subtle, very like lit from within, that candlelit glow. It's a formula that works across the board for all ages and all skin types and textures. Beautiful the way this looks on the skin. But that is very, very intense. And I will just show you. Swatching it, it is very, very reflective. So you have a blush. This one here is number 2. This is Rose Fusion. This is a blush and it's very soft, very silky, very buttery. This one here is the Diffused Light Finishing Powder. This one has a little bit more of a yellowy kind of color, but when it's applied, it's really nice. It's like a finishing step that you can use to sort of set everything once you finish your makeup routine. What I did with that today in a previous video is I took both of those colors and softened the lines of my blush because I am very heavy-handed and sometimes I can get blush a little too close, so I use those types of powders which are very light and thin to sort of buff out the edges and kind of like an eraser per se, where I can kind of fix any mistakes, but that is very soft and there is a subtle kind of satiny sheen to it. It's not quite matte and flat, but it's not shimmery and it's definitely not metallic and glowy like the strobe powder. But when you feel that formula, it feels very, very soft and a good quality. So then the bronzer, you have the Lunar Bronze, which they feel like butter. And this is a really nice shade for someone that's very fair like myself, or even someone with light skin. It is very warm tone. I will say it's very, very warm. This blush here is Diffused Heat. That's what I'm wearing today. And it feels really nice. It feels a little bit, I want to say, drier than the others. When I'm rubbing my finger in here, this blush up here felt a little bit more buttery and silkier, but it's still applied very pretty and it is a nice coral, even though it's got some veining, as you will see here. When you pick this product up with your brush, it's going to look like a pretty soft coral with a bit of pink. And then you have the setting powder or finishing powder that's called Ethereal Light, and that I believe is the one that I already have in my palette from the previous years. And this one looks white, but when you apply it, it has a bit of a brightening aspect, which I like using those types of powders. For under the eyes, you are getting a typical Hourglass formula, which is very high quality and beautiful to work with. Taking my BK Beauty 111 brush, I'm going to start bronzing my face. And I'm going to use this one here that is labeled as Lunar Bronze. I think I'm going to go for this one today. This is the Diffused Heat. For the sake of review, I'm just going to go ahead and add the Rose Fusion with the same brush towards the higher points of my cheek and just kind of blending those together. This one is going to be a little bit deeper. I'm going to take the highlighter. This is the Metallic Strobe Powder in Opal Strobe Light. And it's very, very glowy, super pretty. I'm going to take some of the finishing powder, the lightest one, and that one is called Diffused Light, and then you have Ethereal Light. So those are the two finishing powders. So I'm going to take this light one here and go through the center of my forehead, kind of basically going all over, and adding some of this as a finishing step and kind of helping soften some of those lines out a little bit. So I'm not knocking the brand for the packaging on the outside, like the artwork or the formulas. I just wish that they would have just gotten a little bit better of a hinge mechanism here, because this just feels very, very flimsy. And I feel like if I keep doing this, I feel like at any moment it's just gonna pop off. So I took out my other Hourglass palettes. This is the Ambient Lighting Edit Sculpture. That's a mouthful and a tongue twister. And then I have the Lighting Edit Mini, the Sculpture Unlocked, which is a quad. And I open this palette. There is just a little bit better of a open, and it doesn't feel as cheap. Now this does feel kind of light because it is more plastic than this. This has more of a substantial kind of weight to it. It's very weighty, kind of like a paperweight, versus this that feels more airy and light. But I do like the sort of hinge mechanism for this, because look, I can do that and it stays open. I can push it and it goes back further. I can open it all the way and it stays. Will I continue using it? Absolutely, because I did pay for it myself and I don't want to waste money. And this was, like I said, 90 bucks. So it's definitely an investment. but I do feel like the formula is really great, and I don't feel like I'm getting something cheap. If I compare the formula from this release to my other palette, my other 6-pan, and even my 4-pan palette, they're right up there with the same kind of quality. Nothing lacks there. It's just the packaging. So that is my 2 cents for this sort of release. Did you pick this up? What do you think? Are you eyeing this? Are you wanting this for the holidays? Are you waiting for it to go on sale at Sephora during the Sephora savings event, which should be happening pretty soon? Or are you going to just pass? Do you already have these? Are you a collector? Let's talk about it. Let's chat about it. And I hope that you found this review helpful. I appreciate you so much for being here and just tuning in and listening to me babble about this product and giving you my thoughts and whether or not I feel like it's worth the money. Let me know your thoughts either way, if you're going to get it or if you've purchased it, what you think. I love hearing from you guys, so thank you so much for being here, for watching, and I will have the palette name and everything down below, the price points and everything that you need to know for that if you're interested in purchasing this. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, you guys, and we'll talk very soon. Bye-bye.